Hello, and welcome to episode 114 in this series where I am programming an NES game from scratch. Welcome back. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Mine was pretty busy, but I was thinking about this problem we're having at this point with the scrolling. And I was anxious to get back into this because I think I know what the problem is. So let's take a look. What I think the problem is that when we were going through this process of determining if we should, if we're rendering the map and we hit the end of the map, we swap to repeat scroll mode, which is just taking the scrolling and switching over to looping one metatile, right? And we adjust the camera. We also adjust the player according to the camera so that it is offset as expected. We then also update the scroll position and camera counter and the screen memory so that basically whatever we did in the previous loop that would get us to this point where we're swapping gets undone, right? Because then we go back to gameplay state, which is at the top somewhere. There it is, gameplay state, and then we go through it all again. So what I was noticing is that we were getting to a point where, let me rebuild this and run this. So I noticed that we were getting to a point where we would loop back over from drawing the map to repeat scroll mode and then back to drawing the map again, and then things got a little weird and I was trying to figure out what might happen, and I think what it is we're just getting a little bit out of sync again. We were having that problem. We were switching modes. We were getting out of sync with the counters that we use for scrolling and stuff, and so it was creating a weird artifact in the transition. And I feel like we're just having the same problem because, see, like in the map mode, if I go back to normal speed and then slow it down, what you'll see is as it updates the tiles, it also updates the attributes, and it's only doing half the metatile at a time for the map mode. So it updates half in the attribute, and then it updates the other half. So that all looks as it should, and we're getting a nice smooth scroll there as a result of that. Now, what's weird is that when we switch back to the repeat scroll, that didn't seem to work. We were getting a scroll over a part of the map that had no attributes set, and then, or the attributes weren't set properly, and then, here, let's look at that. And then they get updated, and that looked weird, and I was trying to figure out why that is. So let's rewind here. I want to make sure, first of all, that we're actually updating. Let's make sure we're actually updating this memory properly. So that's 2120 in the PPU memory. So let's go to 2120. I'm just going to zero out those tiles, and we should see them disappear. And then we just want to make sure that they get updated as the game scrolls and hits the point where it should be updating those tiles. Let's do the whole metatile row. So, oh, that was the wrong row. Poop. All right, it's not that big a deal. I just didn't go far enough back. Let's check now. Almost. Almost. There it is. Okay, so let's see. When we get to the point where this... It's going to look weird because this half of the meta tile is gone, but when we get to the point where the scroll is at the position where it's at the top there, it should draw the meta tile above for repeat scroll. So let's see what it does. Okay. So it actually didn't do it until halfway through. So, that's interesting. And that... I wonder if we're getting out of sync with the camera. The scrolling is what triggers some of this stuff, right? It triggers the meta tile flag that it's going to draw the tiles, and then depending on where it is, it will also trigger the attribute update. Oh, okay, wait. I know what it is. I think I know what it is. When we swap to repeat scroll, swap to map mode, I think that's it. So when we go into load level, let's look at it in the debugger. When we go into the load level, we're setting the camera and we're offsetting it by 1, knowing that we're going to loop back through the loop. Knowing that we're going to loop back through the loop for processing the map row properly to load it before the scroll goes up. And we're not doing that for scroll Y. Oh, huh, okay. For scroll Y, this is, I don't know what this breakpoint is, but this one, it remembered. Okay, cool. And... Huh. And I wonder if that's the problem. So let's rewind all the way back, because that means that the camera caused the swap to repeat scroll mode, but the scrolling itself, which triggers the loading of the table, the name table with the tiles and the attributes, that it looks like that's almost off, and that's what's not triggering the update that we're expecting. Here, let me pause for a second because I want to rewind back and I don't want this to trigger yet. Okay, so we've rewound a whole bunch here. Set this breakpoint. So camera is going to hit 0, which is going to cause us to go to swap to background mode, or sorry, map mode, right? Like camera is 0. And then, what's scroll Y at? Scroll Y is at A0. Yeah. Yeah, because, yes, I think this is it. Because what's going to happen is scroll Y is going to get decremented again, and it's going to go from A0 to 9F. Right, if we step through this, camera gets changed to 141, And it's 141 instead of 140 because we know we're going to loop back and decrement from it. But scroll Y is still A0. And we're going to end up... what about scroll counter? Scroll counter. What is this set to? 7. Skip row process. Should we... Trying to think what if scroll counter should also... And camera counter? It's totally skipping processing, so it's going to have a little bit of stutter there. But yeah, scroll Y is going to get decremented, and it's going to go from A0, it should be A1, because we're essentially just reprocessing that row. So a couple of things. So just like we're doing here, where we're decrementing the scroll counter, we should also increment the scroll Y. What else are we doing over here? Camera counter, we're setting camera counter to 7, I mean. So we should probably do the same thing if we're not already. Load A0. Okay, so this is all loading the level. All right, I think this is going to do it. If this fixes it, man, I'm going to be thrilled not to have to deal with this for a little while. We'll switch to getting some sort of basic sound to play. We'll make this a shortish one. Just call it a win for the night. And we'll resume Thursday with the live stream. But let's see. I'm pretty confident that this is going to do it. There's still obviously issues. There's the problem of the collision with the ship when you switch to, repeat scroll mode, where it's not properly handling. Checking background collision, there shouldn't be any. And have to figure out how to handle it for the area of the map, or just simply kind of create like a rule that the last screen of a map has no collisions, just to avoid having to deal with that edge case. That might be the easiest way to go. Sounds a lot less painful. Alright, so camera is 0. We're going to switch to background mode. We're going to reset camera counter, which is at 0 to 7. We're going to increment the scroll counter, which is at 6. Wait, increment? Oh, that should be a decrement. And oh, I switched. I switched what they're supposed to do. Okay, that's fine. We'll cheat, and I will fix those manually. Let's see. So I decremented scroll Y, and I wanted to make it increment. And scroll Y is at 40. So I want that to be A0, no, A1, because I wanted to increment that. And then scroll counter, it was 6, and I wanted to decrement that back to 5, and that's at 75. So let's make that 5. Okay. And then, okay, let's, fingers crossed, people. Oh my gosh, I have so many windows open right now. To wonder anything is running right now. Okay, so far so good. It didn't break the switch to the map mode. And now let's see what happens when it transitions over to repeat scroll again. Hopefully that fixes it. Yes. Yes. That was it. All right. Now, of course, we got to make sure that this actually will transition back and forth one more time. Make sure there are no additional weird cases, but other than my reversing the increment and decrement logic, I think we got it. And then we can make the NES make some bloops and bleeps. And with sound, I haven't really done much, so we're gonna just take a quick look and use some example code and mess around with it. Okay, so we're back to this. Let's let me go back and fix those up because it's the same problem as before. Scroll counter is at 75. And that should have been decremented to 6. And scroll Y was at 40, and it should become 41, not... Wait. If I decremented it to 40, that means it was at 41, it should be 42. Address 40. Wait, huh? Scroll Y, 4F. Oh. Decrement. Did I change the wrong thing? No, that's okay. Scroll Y, that's 4F. So instead of making it 4F, it should have been 5-1. Okay. We're probably going to need to retry this after, just to make sure that my manual manipulation of the data isn't messing with this, but I think this got it. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let's go. Let's rebuild this code. Okay, those are switched appropriately. Let's build that. Let's run this at ramming speed. I just want to make sure that the everything happens correctly. And then we'll make some noise. So far, so good. Yes. Oh, man, that felt like it took forever to get that working. And like I said, it's still not completely over, but it's good enough for now. I do not want to be messing with attributes or name tables right now. Let's do some stuff on sound. So, talked about the APU, the audio processing unit, way back in the beginning when I started this thing. Basically, you have 4 channels, okay? So 4 different types of noises that the NES can make. 2 pulse waves, triangle wave, noise. You can also do audio sample playback, but there are issues with using that because, at least based on, well, a couple things. The audio quality isn't great, and because of the low sample rate, but also the DMC, the sample playback process, introduces some weird bugs, some weird issues in your code, because there are bugs in the there's a bug or several bugs in the implementation. I'm sure it probably even talks about it. Let's see if we go. Let's see where that would be. Conflict with controller and CPU read on the NES and Famicom. If a new sample byte is fetched from memory at the same time the program is reading the controller through 4016 and 4017, a conflict occurs, corrupting the data read from the controller. Yeah, so this is the thing that I was talking about. So basically, if you're going to do that, you've got to read your controller multiple times just to make sure that you get good data from the controller. What does it say? A similar problem occurs when reading data from the PPU through 2007 or pulling 2002 for VBlank. Okay, good to know. So let's start simple. So there's this. Let's create a new file for audio. Oh man, it feels good not to be working on the attribute stuff for a little while anyway. Let's include. No, not here. So let's take a look at what it's doing. So each of the different channels has 4 registers associated to them, and is it 4 registers, 4000 through 4003. Yeah. Okay. So first register controls duty cycle and volume. Second register, and this doesn't. These are for the pulse waves. The triangle does something different, and the noise is also different. So for the pulse, we've got the duty cycle and the volume. We've got the raw period. Okay, so the period is what determines the pitch of what's being played back. And so you have, it looks like you use 11 bits to represent that, because you have the lower 8 bits and then 3 higher bits in order to represent that value. And it's got this formula here for determining, so I don't know why 400 was chosen, but if you have like A440, which is, you know, a standard sort of frequency, 253.22290, so you round it up to like 254. So in this case, what we would want to do is we would want to set this to 254, and this would be 0, because we don't care. That's not part of the value we have to represent. And just to check with their calculation, that's 400. They were doing divide by 400 minus 1. You get 278. They're putting 279 in, so you round up to 279. Close enough, right? And then if we look at what it's doing, it's storing that in 4002. Okay, so it's using the upper and lower byte shorthand for storing into 4002, 4003. Interesting. So it actually sets the period first, and then it sets the register with the duty cycle and volume. So what I think I want to do is I want to do something where in the, let's do something on the title screen where we will, where we're going to have a pitch that just plays from like half volume all the way down to 0 for a moment, and then continues on. It'll just keep doing that, so it'll be like just a pulse over and over again. Maybe we can have it alternate between 2 pitches. We'll try that too. So let's see, what is this doing? Before using APU, initialize the registers to silence. So we won't just wholesale rip this off. We'll write our own version. So 13 okay, so what it's setting for, what am I looking at here? 000830. So store in 4000. Load Y 13. 13. 13. Load registers Y. Oh, you know why? Probably because there's stuff for the DMC that I don't see here because this is not covering that. All right, so excuse me, it's been a long day. So it's starting from here. And storing into 4013. Let's see, 4013. Okay, yeah. All right, so it's zeroing out the DMC register values. All right, so we can do a similar thing, right? We're going to load Y with 13. Do we really need a table here for this? so it's storing the values backwards. We go look at the noise channel. So one of the things I noticed that I didn't actually say out loud is it does say that you have to, where it says ones there, you actually do have to write those one values. Maybe we will make a little table to initialize it. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Actually, I don't have to do it there. So, I guess we'll just copy this part. I like to type stuff out when I'm learning it because I retain it better. For something like this, I don't know that I need to remember the exact byte values. So I'm okay with not doing that. So load A. Okay, so we're going to load A, audio and data Y. And then we're going to store it into 4000Y. So basically we're starting at the register at 4013, which is the DMC stuff, which we're not going to do anything with tonight, and zeroing all that stuff out. And then we're going to do noise, triangle, pulse, pulse. All right. Decrement Y. Yeah, branch plus. Let's go back to there. So as long as that's positive, it will continue to loop. And then we have to skip over 4014, which is the OAM DMA. So 4015 and 4017. Oh, right, because it's not, wasn't setting those. Huh. Okay. So put a similar note there, worth making note of. And then store that into 4015. So wait, what are we doing when we do that? Let's see, so these are the channel enable status registers used to enable and disable individual channels, control the DMC, and can read the status and length. So write a 0 to any of the channel bits will silence the channel immediately and set its counter length to 0. Okay, so we are writing Y. Load 0F into 4015. So enable DMC, noise, triangle, and pulse width. Oh, I see. I was confused by, I wasn't looking at this part. So pulses 1 and 2, triangle, noise, but not DMC. Okay, makes sense. And then there's 417, and what was that doing? that was just being set to 40. So that's going to be, let's see. One, two, so M mode 0, 4-step, no, 5-step it's going to be set to, and 0 for the IRQ. Let's see. Okay. So, and then load 40 stored into 47, 417. And that's it. So okay, so let's assemble this. Nothing exploded, so that's good. Let's reset the game. Nothing exploded there also. Oh, but you know what? Not so fast. Doesn't help that I didn't actually call the initialize. So let's do that once we are in a place where doing such a thing is appropriate. So we've cleared our memory, we've cleaned up some memory stuff, waited for VBlank again. All right, let's do initialize audio. Okay, so let's make sure that that now, oh, I just can't spell. Okay, no weird noises, and I've turned on the recording of the desktop audio also, so you will get to hear the pleasantness of what we're about to make happen here, hopefully soon. All right, so now let's do what I was saying. Let's create a I don't think I'm actually using swap H for anything. So let's rename this to PulsePong. Actually, before I do that, yeah. That's a dumb name. We'll just call it Pulse Counter. PulsePong sounded more fun in my head, but okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to set a time for it. So this is going to get called, this is going to get decremented every frame, which is 60 frames a second. So let's make this get softer over 2 seconds. What are the volume values? The volume values, the maximum is 15. So if I'm doing 120, so I should be able to just divide by 8. So if I divide by 8, I'll get 15. Yeah, I guess, you know, we'll start at max volume. Let's see what that looks like. I should probably turn the volume down a little bit on the desktop just to make sure that that's not crazy loud for the recording. All right, so that's pulse counter. So let's just see if we can make it do it once. Load new title screen, jump title screen state. Okay. Let's load a pulse counter. Compare it. That should be it. Branch if not equal to branch if equal to skip this part. Don't do anything if already 0. So if it's 0 when we load it to A, it'll just it will it'll set up everything where branch if equal will work. So decrement pulse counter, load that into now A, and then logical shift right 3 times to divide by 8. So that gives us our volume. Our frequency, which will be the lovely A440. Forget what I said it was before, so we'll just recalculate it. That's for 253. So what we will do is we will just really kludgy load 0. Oh, I can't do it there. Load X with 0. Store X at, let's see, 4002. No, 4003. And then load X with 253 is... 253 is what in hex? I don't feel like doing that in my head. It's FD. Not failed. FD. Although it may fail. 4002. So those are what we need for the frequency. And then we'll just copy the upper bits. Here we will set the duty cycle to 10, which will, it says give us a square wave, so it'll sound pretty good. So let's do load A. Oh no, load X. Oh, let's do this at the end because I need to do some manipulation here. Load A. We're going to have to, you know what, we'll store that off. Store A into temp2. And then we're going to load A with 1011. What is that? 4, 1, and 2. That's 4 and 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So let's do that in hex. That's just 7, 0. Sorry, 7. Right? 1 and 2 is 3 plus 4 is 7. Yep. And then 7. So 7, 0. And then we're going to OR our value from temp2, and then we're going to store that into 4000. All right, so let's see if we get any sort of noise at all. Should be interesting. I broke the title screen. There we go. No sound though, huh? Let's take a look. I'm sure I just missed something obvious here, but pulse counter 21. Did I not set the right value there? Yeah, that's not the right value. Why? I guess that's the old value that I had been setting in there. So I wanted to do 120 cycles for 2 seconds, 78. hex. Let's try that again. That's probably... So pulse counter is 77. Take commands load. Shift 3 times. Start in temp 2. Okay. Load X 0. Start in 3. 2. A 70. Let me just make sure that I'm pretty sure that's right. Nope, it's not right. What? Huh? How on earth? Because that's 70 decimal. That's how on earth. Where is this? I wanted 1011 4 2 and 1. What am I doing? Oh, because it's 8, you dummy. It's 8. So 8 and 2 is 10, 11, so it should be D0. Sorry, dumb mistake. Not my first, not my last. I'm just tired. Get rid of the breakpoints. Let's see if we get anything here. No. You're not breaking. On my breakpoints, pulse counter. Let's see. Oh. You know what we didn't do? I wonder if when we initialized... Let's do this. Let's start with max volume and everything, but I wonder if it's because right now the audio is totally disabled by our initialization code. Seems like that could be the case. Because I don't hear anything coming out of there. And we changed status. Let's see. So status registers. Well, we did turn these on, right? So audio ASM turns on those guys, which is F, and then it changed up some other stuff. So what aren't we doing right? So that initializes it. Fourth. 4.0. Oh, did I just maybe write the wrong? Low bits is in 4002. No, that seems right. Does it matter which order? Seems like it shouldn't, but let's see. Just for fun. Nope. Okay. let's just double check that audio is actually playing on this thing. Ah. I don't know what you... Make sure we hear something. Okay, so that's working. I figured it was something I was doing, but I also didn't want to be sitting here trying to make something work that was having a problem. Okay, so let's go back to this code. All parameters can be changed. Am I writing it too frequently? Should I just be writing just the volume? Let's see. No, I don't hear anything. Just to make sure. We'd hear something. What am I missing? Initialize the APU. Load A with 270. Well, with we can try that, but I don't think. Okay. So what am I actually writing here? I'm writing 1011 and all ones. Double check that, I guess. Just on the weird off chance that that's not working the way that it should, or that I expect it to, rather. Okay, so we're loading BF, which in the calculator is, drum roll, 10111111. Okay, and then we're storing that into square duty at 4,000. That all seems good. Let's take a look at this. There's some sort of something that I'm not doing. Let's go back to, we should double check the audio initialization also, just in case there's some weird bug with that. Yeah, well, that'll do something. It's 13, but it's but it's not. Well, wait a minute. That code is wrong because that's loading 15. But in this it says 1-3. Oh, okay. It's doing it in a different order. It's doing it increasing. Okay. And it's not checking for 4014. So that example has problems, apparently. Okay. Load Y13. Load A. Let's take a look at this. So load Y. Load A. Audio net 0. Store A. Let's take a look. Well, that should be right. It's just storing it there. Are there any audio registers that I can see in here? Doesn't look like it. All right. And then decrement Y. Oh, crap, man. This is probably it. It's probably that I'm not, was returning too early. Hey, we got a steady pitch there. All right, so let's make this actually work with our pulse counter. Pulse counter, store a temp or a, oh, that helps. There we go. That was cool. It faded out. Okay, so let's see if we can make it repeat that. Let's do this. This will be, I think, pretty easy. So if we take 255 and minus 120, we get 135. So compare to, not in hex, 255 minus 120 gets us 135. Oh, okay. I just didn't realize it. So compared to 87, range not equal to this. Load A, what's 120, 78. Store it into pulse counter. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to keep subtracting past 0 for 2 seconds. And in the meantime, let's see if compare pulse counter, no, load a pulse counter compare to how do I want to do this? Just say if it's bigger than 120, then so let's see. So when we're doing the comparison, it's going to do the subtraction. So what? So branch if. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. We haven't really messed with this since we were doing the collision. I think I was doing the just a subtraction just to keep it easy. So let's see. So if we load A with, let's say it's at FF, and we compare it to, what did I say, 78, the result, carry will be clear because FF is bigger, so carry will be set, right? Carry is set because it'll be bigger. If we make it 77, carry should be clear. Yeah. All right, so branch, or if it's equal, I think carry is still set. Okay, cool. But 0 is also set. So what do we want to do? We want to say compared to 78, if it's bigger than 78, bigger than 78, then we want to just carry. It's going to subtract 78, so carry is going to be set. Sorry, I'm just kind of thinking through this. So basically, if it's bigger than 78, then don't bother with this part. But if it's smaller, then that means we have a volume that's positive and within the range of 0 to 15, and we'll then use that to change the volume. I think that's going to work. I'm tired. My brain is not wanting to do this. Yeah, cool. So we're getting a repeated tone every 2 seconds that fades over the course of 2 seconds. So we can speed that up if we want to by, instead of doing 255 minus 120, we'd do it over 60. That gives us C3. So if we get compared to C3, branch if not equal, load there. Compare to 78. Yeah, okay. So make. So now it's doing the tone a little bit more frequently. We can make it, we can even make it do the whole thing a little bit faster. So 78, what is that? 3C is the, oops, 3C. Let's do it just over the course of 1 second with a 1 second pause between. Well, that's cool. It actually corresponds to the press start. Now, the only problem is that it's going to keep playing that tone because we're not clearing out the audio volume when you press start, right? So let's do that so that the audio stops. Let's see. So first, what we want to do is where is that? I'll spare you the tone in the background there. So we're just storing that into 4000. So let's. So we just want to store B0 into 4000 when we transition to starting the game. So load new game state. Is this it? Yeah. So let's do that. That will Get that sound off. Yeah, so you can see it turned off as soon as we hit start. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to call it for tonight. Hopefully we'll be able to stream properly on Thursday. We've been having some problems with the streaming, but I'm excited that we got the scrolling working here, and got to have a little bit of sound playback. That's cool. So maybe we can start adding in some different sound effects or music. I don't know. We'll see. But as always, thank you for watching. I'm glad to hear people are really getting something out of these videos. Zero Pages, episode 5. I hope to get something out there soon. As I've mentioned in previous videos, it's the end of the year, and so, or the end of the school year, I should say, and so there's a lot going on. And obviously some holidays too. Happy belated Father's Day to any of the dads out there. And so I've just been behind on Zero Pages, but yeah. So we'll do some streaming Thursday. Trying to get another good video out there. I'm trying to get Zero Pages episode 5 out before July rolls around. And if you want to reach me on Twitter, I'm at Clairvis. If you want to reach me on Nintendo Age, I am Zelius. I'm on the Discord as Zelius. You can reach me by my email at zelius@gmail.com. And feel free to check out the pre-order page for the game, where you will get access to the source code. Although I'm sorry, I haven't updated it in a while. I will push an update to it in the next day or so, to get everything in there for those of you who have signed up for that. But yeah, if you pre-order the game on itch.io, you can, and I'll put the link for that down in the description below the video. You can get access to the core source code of the game, and you'll also get a ROM when the game is finally released. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great night, and I'll see you Thursday. Take care. Thanks.